Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at Project L from Board Cubator, and this is a kind of an abstract puzzle engine building game where you're using polyomino pieces to fill in puzzles, and in reward you get points and you get more pieces to add to your collection to fill in more puzzles and things like that. And the box is not much to look at. There's not a lot to show here. A little bit of information on the back, but no images or nothing, just a solid L on there, and it does seem to attract fingerprints, so don't know what to do about that. But anyway, we're going to get right in and take a look. So I will say from the factory it comes with a pretty good insert in here if you're only going to use the base game stuff. Once you start adding in some of the expansions, it gets a little small, but they do have a storage solution to compensate for that, which I covered in my unboxing video. So we're going to get right in though and take a look at this. And right on top here we have our manual. And it's got like linen pages too, which I think is nice, but very colorful illustrations. There are multiple versions of way to play in here. I think it covers everything pretty comfortably though. And there's your solo variant there, which I can admit I have not played the solo variant yet, so I'm not all that familiar with it. And then the line clear variant, which is for higher player counts. Again, have not played that one yet. Just played the base game myself. Now this is the reprint of the game, so the rule book does have all the rules in the back here for the expansions. I am not positive if they were in the original book. The ghost piece may have been, but the finesse expansion would not have been because it had not been created yet. So that's in here now. And they go over in detail the finesse stuff, and then the ambassador pack in the back. And there's even a finesse solo variant in here, and a special rule for the doing the line clear variant. And then all of the backers' names on the last few pages there. Again, this came from the second Kickstarter for the finesse expansion, so some of the stuff might not be in the original game. Like this is the rules. There's a little rules card for the finesse expansion. Pretty sure that wasn't in the original. Next we have our player boards. We have one marked here as the first player. And these are really come in handy. They have spots up here at the top, so you could have 4 active puzzles up there. You start off, these are the pieces you start off with here, and then you can upgrade them up and down as the game progresses. So 1 square turns into a 2, 2 turns into a 3. These are all 4s. And then if you're using the ghost expansion, you get into the 5 square pieces there. Over here is a list of all the actions you can take and a description about what they are. The ones in white here are for the base game. Then you have the ambassador and ghost expansions down here. And then they're just plain on the back. But you have one of those for each player. I think it goes up to 6. 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. So there's 6 players worth in there. I do believe the original base game only went up to 4. This new one from the new Kickstarter supports up to 6, so it has a few extra pieces. Obviously, you have the extra player boards. There's extra puzzle pieces in here, as well as extra tetromino. What are they called? The polyomino pieces there. And then you got this nice bag to put these in. I'm not going to be storing mine in here long term because I have the cool box that came with the game trays. But the pieces are super high quality. Nice thick plastic. I heard someone had a problem where they were cracking. I have not had that yet, thankfully. Hopefully that's just a one-off thing with theirs. But I love the tactile feel of these. And there are a ton of them. I'll get this out of the way so you can see. That's just from the base game there. Tons of them to go with. Obviously, you want to sort them out. They do come in plastic baggies at first, but I have those game trays to put them in from the bigger box there, so that's what I'm going to be doing. But you can keep them in baggies. When you play, you can put them in little bowls or things, or at least separate them into piles. It makes it easier. In the very least, you're going to want to separate them into the level tiers that are on here for quick reference while you're playing the game. Next up in here, we have these little glass beads. I'm not even going to get them out. They are used, I believe, for the line variant, which I have not played, so I have not actually used those yet. And then we have the storage tray here. And like I said, there's plenty of room here, and these little foam inserts keep them nice and tight, but you can take these out and add a little bit more if you wanted to. It's just there is not enough room to add everything from the new expansion. You might be able to squeeze the finesse expansion in here. I would have to see. I didn't actually try. But that aside, we have two different kinds of puzzle pieces here, and they do have an L on the back. It's kind of, well, you can see it pretty good on the camera. Also a fingerprint magnet, but there are two kinds of puzzles. You have your black ones here and your white backed ones. And the best way to tell on this version of the game, if you have the new printing or the old printing, is that the inside core on these is black. I believe it was gray on the original. So even on the white tiles, they have black core. And you're going to have two rows of these across the center of the table. Get the box out of the way here. And they're going to have a couple of these space up. I think it's actually 4, but I don't have enough room here, so I'm just going to do this. And these are the puzzles you're going to be buying your puzzles from to put in front of you. And again, there should be 4 of each, but I could squeeze the 4th one on there. There we go. The white ones are easier and tend to give less points, and they're off the screen so you can't even see. So like we got a 1, a 2. These two don't even give any points, but they give you puzzle pieces, or which allow you to fill in more puzzles later on. The black ones tend to have a higher points cost, but also have a lot more space to fill. And these are basically, you're going to try to do as many of these smaller ones as you can first off to rack up some extra pieces by completing them. You get these pieces here. And then you start working towards the bigger ones to score up points. Initially, you start with, as I said, 1 yellow 1 square. And wherever they are, a little green 2 piece. So you got to keep that in mind, like this kind of puzzle here, you wouldn't be able to complete with your pieces you started with. So you're going to want to start with something like this so you can place that in there, complete that, and then you'll get another piece, and then you'll have enough to fill in these slightly bigger puzzles. So you have to keep in mind what you have as well. The neat aspect of the game, though, is that engine building. So as you complete a puzzle, so say we completed this, we put that aside, we're going to gain an extra piece. Now you have more pieces, and you're going to get more and more pieces in front of you to be able to fill in more and more puzzles as the game progresses. So when the game starts off, you're only going to have these 2 pieces to work with. Everybody starts with the same thing. And you got to look out here and see what it is you could actually complete. Like in this situation, I think this is the only thing we can complete out here with what we got. So on our turn here, you have to do 3 of these actions, and you can do them in any order. And we start off here. I think we're going to do the take, because you can have up to 4 puzzles in front of you. So we're going to take this one because we know we can complete it, and it would slot into one of these slots up here. I'm going to have to do it off camera because it won't fit. And then this is immediately replaced with something new. Then when we go on, our second action would be to place this piece on here. That would complete that puzzle. It's not worth any points, but we get another green out of there, so we get that back. This would go to our completed stash, and we would get an additional green piece. And now we have these to work with. That's 2 of our 3 actions. Now you can look out here with these 3 pieces. We can complete this one, or this one. We can only have 1 more action, so we're going to take this and again add it to our player board, which is just over here. Stick it on there. and then that would get replaced. And that's one turn. Turns go pretty quick. You do your 3 actions, it goes on, you do your 3, and it keeps continuing on. Other actions that you can do on the board here are to recycle, which means you choose one of the rows of these, and you're basically going to remove all the puzzles for it and then draw out a new row. And they go to the bottom of the deck. Your next one would be to upgrade. Like we were saying, you can take these ones you start with. So you can take this little green one you started with, upgrade it into one of these. You can only go up or down one level when upgrading a piece. Placing, which I showed you, we placed puzzle pieces into the puzzle that we had. And then the master action, which comes into play later in the game. You're going to have more pieces. You're going to have a handful of pieces that you've gotten from your rewards. And I've got a mess going here. And just for this example, we're going to say that we have all these pieces here are our 4 puzzles that we have above our player board. And we have this whole handful of pieces over here that we can use. And the master action allows you to place up to 1 piece in each of the puzzles. So you can go through and find something that fits, like that will complete that one. This does a pretty good job of this one. Put one of those there. And there, that would be 1 action to put 1 piece in each of those. That would complete this one. Again, this one we would actually score points from, and we gain another green one to add to that. Ideally, you want to set yourself up so you can do a master action on your turn and trigger multiple, fill in multiple. Like the next turn around with what we have here, we could do another master and put a piece here, which would complete that. Put a piece here, which would complete that. And put a piece there to complete that. We complete all 3 of those in a single action. And that's kind of the basics of the game, is building up those combos. And then we would score all 3 of those puzzles, get all those points, and more importantly, all those pieces to add to our collection. Overall, though, it's a really fun game. I enjoy it. My family enjoys it. A bunch of my friends enjoy it. It's become kind of a go-to one for our little get-togethers. We play at least 1 round of it. If anything, people complain that the game itself is too short. The base of the game is how many black tiles are in here based on the number of players. When the black tile pile runs out, triggers the end of the game. There's a couple extra things that go on, but then you tally up your scores. And everybody agrees when you get to that point. You're like, oh, I was just starting to pull stuff off, and then it feels like it ended too soon. So we've actually started playing with extra black tiles in there. It's kind of a house thing, just to make the games last a little bit longer. As an extra addition to this original game, there was the Ambassador Pack, which contains a first player coin, so you can keep track of who the first player is, as well as, I think it's 3 new puzzles. 3 new puzzles, 1 white and 2 black. And these ones include an additional master action on them. So when you complete these puzzles and you add them to your collection, you leave them face up until you want to use that extra master action, and then you can flip them face down. You're still going to get the points for them at the end. So those pretty much got mixed in permanently into our game. We're going to be using those. I don't think they really add any complexity to the game, but it's a neat little pack that you can pick up that adds just a little bit more to the base game. And the first player coin, I don't think we've ever actually used, but you need to keep track of who your first player is in order to do the final rounds. When the last black tile is drawn, you finish the current round, and then you play 1 extra round. That's how you keep track of where the rounds actually started. But yeah, overall, I love the game. I love the feel of the pieces. I love the double layer. I don't know if you can see it on the camera very well, but these are technically triple layer. There's a base, there's a centerpiece. They have these little dots where all the holes are. And there's kind of like a dot on the black too. So you can see what you need to fill in. So even at a distance, you might not be able to tell, is this a 3 or a 4? Well, now you can tell just by looking at it that it's 4 spaces tall, because you can count the dots, which are kind of neat. But yeah, the way these are all recessed, all of these tiles like set in there, and so they don't slide off if the tables bump. Granted, they can still shift like that if there's not pieces holding them in place. But once you get some pieces in there, as I can't do it on the camera here. Once you get some pieces in there, yeah, they're not going anywhere if somebody were to bump the table, and that's a really cool thing. I don't think I would enjoy that part of it as much if they weren't recessed like that, and the pieces just sat on as you put them together. That adds to it, I think. Obviously, it'd still be a fun game, but certainly the whole feel of the components, the fact that these are nice, chunky plastics, they kind of look like candy. Keep them away from kids, especially these ones. But anyway, I find it a very enjoyable game, and there is a lot of interesting combos you can build up to, and strategies that you can use. The one thing I will say, and I've heard other people say it too, is that after your first few games, once you get down to a system of, okay, I want to solve a bunch of white puzzles, I want to build up a bunch of pieces, and then I can pull off big combos and things. Once you get into a system of that, it can feel rather samey from game to game because you're doing the same concept. You're building up your pool, you're getting the pieces so you can do those master actions and get the big puzzle solves, multiple puzzles at a time. I don't find that too bad personally, because I think the fact that the puzzle piece is changing up, you're not always going to get the same ones out there. Obviously, there's a variety of them, so what's out there is going to change from time to time. Who you're playing with, we have fun just joking around and things while we play, so that adds to it in my opinion. And the fact that the game plays very similar from game to game doesn't bother me as much, but it is something worth keeping in mind if that's something that bothers you. Overall, though, I love the game, and it's definitely something that's going to be sticking around. I went through and got all the expansions for it to add even more to it, so once we get a few plays in, and with the same group of people, and they might start getting that where it feels a little too much, we can add in something else, the ghost pieces, the finesse expansion, and so on, to change things up a little bit. But overall, I really like it, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is interested. It is well worth picking up. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our look at Project L. I just wish they had like some images or something on the back of the box to at least show people what this is, because it's really hard to sell if you have no idea what it is and you see it on the store. You're not going to be looking at the box and seeing that artwork and stuff on the back and saying, hey, that looks like something we might be interested in. So there's enough word of mouth going around about it, though, that I think anybody who might be interested probably knows what it is at this point. And if you haven't seen it yet, definitely worth checking out. Anyway, that is going to wrap it up for this video. Stay tuned for a quick overview of the 2 expansions. I plan on doing videos for those. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.